I'm Ellie from Nourishment Redacted, and welcome to Lioness Lifestyle Live.
Hey everybody, and I'm Cristie with Meeting Wellness. I'm so excited that you guys are here so we can meet with you this evening. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, I'm Hayley with MeatisWhereItsAt. If you have questions for our very special guest, please put a QQQ in front of your question or 3 question marks.
All right, and that means it's time for this week's Roar of the Week. So every single week, we look through those comments that we get when people watch the replay, and you guys always have such wonderful things to say. And this week's Roar of the Week comes from Miss E 2013. Amazing progress photos, referring back to Erin from last week. Thank you for sharing them. It is encouraging to women all over. Really great interview. So thank you so much to Missy for being our Roar of the Week this week.
Also, if you guys didn't get a chance to see my exclusive interview with Cristie at Meeting Wellness, it was on December 30th. You can go back to any of our channels and go watch that. We had a great time, and I shared some before and after photos from my journey. So go check it out.
Oh, so exciting. Well, I have the pleasure of bringing in our wonderful guest today. Let's bring her on in.
Hey!
That was a cool intro. Very cool.
Okay, I'm so glad you liked it.
That's awesome.
Now you're officially a lioness.
There you go.
Yeah, you fit right in. That's totally.
Now today's my day.
Well, Nili, we would all love to know about yourself and your health journey and where you started and how you found ketogenic eating. We'd love to know all the juicy details, so please share with us today.
Yeah, well, I've been on a health journey for a long time. I was pretty overweight during high school, and that came with its own set of, issues physically and mentally. Just at that age, it's a lot to be overweight. And I ended up going on the Atkins diet, like when I was 18, just turned 18. And that was right before I got married. I got married at 20. So I found the Atkins diet, and I was like, this is the diet, the one true and perfect diet, because I dropped like 40 pounds in a couple of months. And I was young. It worked like magic. And I kind of thought, well, that I found it. I found the perfect diet. And then I decided, because I was so into diet and nutrition, I was like, I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to, start researching. And as soon as I did that, I started getting very confused, because you hear, you have to have carbs. The Atkins diet, if anyone doesn't know, the Atkins diet is just a low carb diet. And looking back on it, I wonder, like, the diet I eat today is very similar to the diet I ate back then, because I wasn't restricting protein. It was all just focused on carb counting. And so I always wonder, like, if I had just stuck with that all of these years, where would I be, But I decided, to be real smart and start researching, and found out that you just have to have carbs to be healthy, and that saturated fat is going to kill you, and all these different things. And so I started just trying different diets. And so I went kind of on a cycle. Like, I did the South Beach diet. That was kind of popular after the Atkins diet. And from there, I did various things, but it was a lot of paleo, primal, stuff like that. And I always learned something, from all these different diets that I tried. Like, I'm really grateful for all the different people I've learned from and the experience. But I was always trying to coexist with carbs. And it never really worked out well, trying to deal with cravings and then also the body image part of it always comes into play. And so the restriction, and then the, overcompensating. And so there was a long journey through different diets and trying to work through my issues, all at the same time as having children. So that, so I'd diet down, and then I'd have a baby, and then I'd nurse, and then, be thinking about what diet I was going to be doing next to get rid of the baby weight. And it was just a cycle, because I have 5 kids. So it, just kept going on.
Yeah.
And somewhere in there, one of the diets that I tried, I was like, oh, I'll go back to a low carb diet, because I kind of had, I felt like I couldn't do low carb because I needed carbs. And then that hadn't been working out. So I'm like, okay, I'll try low carb again. But that's right when the term keto was really coined. And the ketosis and nutritional ketosis was the catchphrase. And at that time, they really, the big names in the space at that point were really focused on both low carb, but then also low protein. They would say moderate protein, but today I call it low protein. Some even as low as like 40, 60 grams a day for a woman. And so I was just listening to the voices at the time thinking if I wanted to do low carb right, then I would have to, reduce my protein and do the super, super high fat. And so I attempted that. And within a few months, I just felt worse than I'd felt in forever. It was horrible. My appetite was out of control and I was starving. And so I was like, of course, I think, well, keto doesn't work. Keto doesn't work for me. Looking back on it now, I'm like, why didn't I just eat more protein? But at the time the message was out there, like excess protein is just as bad as excess carbs. And so I really, took that to heart. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have to go back to eating carbs. And so I was back kind of in that cycle of trying to figure out how to live with carbs when it never really worked out. And it wasn't until I heard Kelly Hogan on a podcast, it's probably like 5 or 6 years ago now, talk about carnivore. And I hadn't really heard carnivore before that. And talking about low carb, but not restricting meat and not restricting protein, it like lit up my brain. I was like, maybe that's what I was missing. And so I was like, okay, I swore I'd never do keto or low carb again, but maybe if I didn't restrict the protein, it would work. And I did that, and it was like magic. It was like learning how much protein my body needs to thrive was life-changing for me. So ever since then, I feel like I found my baseline. Like I'm always tweaking like little things here and there and trying different stuff, but I have found my baseline finally of protein, and it turns out it was meat. So very much meat-based eating. So anyways, from there, I've just been kind of building on that and trying to, like, there's always, it's a journey. Like I always say, I'd love to have a story where I was sick and overweight and I found this and then everything is perfect from that point. But that's usually not how it works in real life. That's kind of in movies, I guess. So it's like I found my baseline diet and my high protein or higher protein way of eating. But then it turned out I found out that I had some underlying health issues that I have been working through. I had iron deficiency anemia, and so I started on some stuff to try to work through that, and then that didn't work. And so it's been like a year and a half of trial and error and like 2 steps forward, 1 step back type thing, trying to get some health issues taken care of. So I feel like I've gotten my diet to a really good place, but it didn't take care of all of the health issues that I had. And I've had to kind of dig deeper and do some different protocols and stuff. One of the ways that I tried to work on my iron issues was through my gut health, because sometimes if you have gut issues going on, it can inhibit iron absorption. And that was like the path I went down originally to try to address the iron issues and the anemia. And I went through maybe like 6 months of treatments for SIBO, and my digestion got so much better. Like it was like night and day from where it was before. but it didn't fix my iron issues. That was the trouble. So I'm like super glad that I did that whole, thing. I can eat so many more foods than I used to be able to eat. My digestion is just, so much better than it was. My diet is still pretty meat based, but I can, splurge on vegetables, and I can eat nuts. Like I couldn't eat nuts before. I couldn't eat a salad before without feeling, bad digestively. And so the gut health protocols that I did like transformed my health, but I still had that iron issue that I haven't been able to figure out, like how to keep my iron levels up. So I'm still in process with that. And what I always say on my YouTube channel is like, come along for the journey. My channel is not meant to be like just me as the expert teaching everyone, all of these things. I'm learning, and I'm just sharing what I'm learning, and then also my experience and the journey towards, optimal health. And so it's kind of tricky sometimes, because I don't want to like lead people astray or lead people the wrong way. But when I'm sharing my journey in real time, it's like, sometimes you share something like, I think this is, what's going on with me, and this is what I'm going to do to fix it. And then that doesn't end up being the thing that fixes it. And so I try really hard to, put all those disclaimers out there. Like, don't do what I'm doing. I'm just sharing. I could be totally wrong. Next week I could be completely changing my approach, And so, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Just playing with different things and, different probiotics, gut stuff, supplements, but then always with that baseline of the meat focused diet.
Absolutely. So when you're talking about iron, I'm assuming that, you're going to your doctor and getting a blood test, and it's coming back as being iron deficient. So what kind of things have you tried? Like specifically, like more red meat, liver, supplements, like what kind of things have you tried to increase that?
Yeah. So with iron, it's kind of tricky because there's a lot of different blood tests that can give you different clues. It's not just one thing. Okay. So you can have iron deficiency, or you can have anemia, or you can have iron deficiency anemia. And when I, was first getting tested, I had iron deficiency anemia. So iron deficiency is when your ferritin is low, and ferritin is your body's iron stores. So like the storage. And then if you have anemia, that's when your actual blood levels of iron are low. So as of now, I could probably still be considered iron deficient, but I'm no longer anemic. So I'm still working on that. So anyways, the things that I've done, the first thing I did was I had in my mind to get tested for SIBO, and SIBO is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And I'd kind of suspected that before, but never really, had the motivation to take the test. They're kind of expensive and all of that. So I was like, finally, I was like, I'm going to just take that test. It came back very positive. It's not completely cut and dry. Like, testing is so tricky because you want it to be as positive as a pregnancy test, like positive or negative, but a lot of times it's not that simple, And so with the SIBO, there are some issues with the test. Some people say they're not accurate and, they don't mean anything. And other people say it can still give you clues. Anyways, as far as I know, I had a positive test. And so that put me on to just going through the process of SIBO protocols. And so that involves different antimicrobials. And so you do like rounds, like 4 to 6 weeks of these different antimicrobials. You get tested again. Every time I got tested, my gas levels, because they're testing your breath and the gases on your breath, every time they went down. So I felt like I was on the right track with that. And that, I think I did 3 or maybe 4 rounds of that. And I feel like that really, like I said, it made a huge difference in my digestion. But as far as the iron levels, I'm focusing on my ferritin levels because that's just what I can't seem to increase. And so my SIBO test kept, going down, and I was feeling good about that. But then my ferritin, there was nothing I could do to keep that up. And then, so then also I've tried, there's a lot of different tricks you can do to help your iron absorption. You can eat lemon with vitamin C, but squeeze lemon on with your steak or whatever to help absorb the iron. You can do, there's so many different things if you research it. Every other day, like doing iron every other day, because your body has a hormone called hepcidin, because iron is toxic at too high of levels. So your body doesn't want to have a lot of it. And so there's this hormone that blocks it. And so you can kind of trick it by having a bunch of iron one day and then not having as much the next day, and like going back and forth. So like I tried all of that kind of stuff. And there was just so many different things. And nothing up until the last few months, nothing even moved the needle on my ferritin. So clearly I think I've come to the point where I'm like, I don't think it has to do with intake, because I've done the, meat 3 times a day, red meat 3 times a day, added liver. Like I've done all the things to do the go down to the absorption route. At this point, I don't think it's the absorption. I think there's something else going on. I haven't fully gotten it figured out. The only thing that's given me a glimmer of hope is supplementing with zinc and copper. I was able to maintain my ferritin for 2 months, and it didn't drop, because before it would just drop. And so I maintained for 2 months, and I was like, this is a victory. Yeah. And that was from supplementing just some different minerals. So that's the only thing that's given me hope over the last year and a half, that I can actually, do something to take care of the iron issues.
Yeah, I can totally see how that would be discouraging, but I can imagine too, not being anemic anymore. Like that's got to feel pretty good, because I think being anemic, you have low energy and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, you can have, it's kind of interesting, because a lot of conventional doctors, most conventional doctors will just look at the iron in your blood and say, oh, it's fine. Mm-hmm. You're fine. But you can have all of the same symptoms from low ferritin that you have from actual low iron. It's kind of like, the analogy I like is, if you had $1 million in your bank account and, however much in your checking account, you're going to spend differently, because you have that $1 million to fall back on. If you have $0 in your bank account, in your savings account, and you have money in your checking account, you're going to be really stingy with that money. So your ferritin is like your savings account, and your iron in your blood is like your checking account. And if that ferritin is low, your body is trying to conserve. And so you'll lose hair, you'll be tired, all of the things that you can have from anemia, you can also have from iron deficiency. So these poor people that they go to their doctor and say, I feel terrible. I'm having heart palpitations and I can't, I can't breathe. There's air hunger as an iron deficiency symptom. And they say, oh, well, maybe you're anemic, and they test the blood and they're like, no, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. And you're like, oh, so hard.
Yeah. Wow.
That's really hard. I know that iron deficiency anemia runs on my husband's side of the family. He didn't get that gene, but I always heard my mother-in-law, she says cook with cast iron. That's probably one of the more common remedies also. Do you cook with cast iron?
I do some. I don't do it a lot. And the ones that I do have are enamel coated. So I don't think I get the same. But it's interesting, because there's 2 separate schools of thought on iron deficiency. There's probably more than 2, but there's 2. The conventional is, if you're iron deficient, you just need to take in more iron. You just have to increase absorption or take more. Then there's this other whole side of it that says you don't most people have more than enough iron in their body, and you could recycle it. But a lot of people don't have the other minerals that you need to actually have that recycling take place. And so that's where the copper and the zinc and other minerals come in. And so they say actually reduce your iron intake and, keep it to a minimum, because iron is toxic at high levels. And so if you're dumping a bunch of iron in and your body's not able to recycle it like it's supposed to, then you're getting all the bad from iron overload, but you're not getting the good of actually using it. So I've shifted my focus from like supplementing with iron and upping my iron. I still eat a high iron diet because I eat a lot of red meat, but then supporting my body with the other minerals so that I can actually use the iron efficiently. And I'm still kind of in the experimentation process with that, but I do have hope that that's like the track that's going to get me. Like I was in the supplementation route, and that train of thought, like I did a full year of doing that. And it works for some people. Like for some people it is like a lot of, people coming from a vegan diet, they just need to eat more iron, and that really helps them. But whatever I have going on, I don't think it has to do with the intake or the absorption necessarily. I think there's something else. So still trying to figure it all out.
Wow.
Yeah, I just thought I'd ask. Like, it seems like you've really like put your whole heart and your soul, and I know you're gonna figure it out. I know you are. I can see it.
And I feel like I'm getting there, but it's a slow process, especially when you're doing experimentation with things. You can't just experiment with something for a week and see a result. You have to do a month or 2 months or more, kind of like with the carnivore diet. It's like, you can't just try it for a week and say, oh, I feel terrible, and then move on. You have to give it some time. So it's just a slow process.
So I wanted to kind of skip back a little bit into your story again. I just am so curious about women's pregnancies because mine were so bad. But going back to your pregnancies, you said you were trying to lose weight with each baby and kind of cycling through different diets. When did you find that keto diet? Was that after you had all of your kids, or was it kind of in there somewhere?
So I found the Atkins diet, which I would consider at this point keto. I found that before I had any kids. That was right before I got married. And so in high school, I was around 200 pounds, and I got down to like 160, 155, 160 before I had my first child. And then with every pregnancy, I never got back up to as high of a weight as I was in high school, which still blows my mind. So people talk about, oh, I just want to get back to my high school body. And I'm like,
I don't know.
I hope I never see that one again. So I'm so thankful for that, because I feel like that gave me a really good foundation. Like I broke my addiction to processed foods, and I never fully like went back, even though I did do other diets. They were healthier diets. So I never fully went back to, the 200 pounds that I was before. But it was, so I had done the Atkins, and then kind of went through like paleo and different things. And it was in, I think it was 2013 or 2014 when keto really came on the scene. And that's when I tried that. And then it was a few more years after that I did keto the right way, did it with, enough protein to actually support my body, that where like the magic happened.
Yeah. I love that you shared that part about that you did do keto the way that they kind of said to do it. And we've had, people that we love tell us like, we tried that before and it didn't work. And it's like, we know more now, and there's so much more, there's people like you out there that are sharing these things and super open about it. And I think if you've tried it before, just try it again. If you're listening, just try it one more time and listen to what Nili is saying. And, because there's some things that we didn't know before about the protein and the fat and all of those things. So
yeah. And there's different ways to do it.
Yeah,
so like,
exactly.
Keto is not just one thing, or carnivore is not just one thing. And so to say, oh, I tried keto, as if I've tried every variation of keto, it's like, it's just not how it works. And because you could eat a 1,000-calorie diet on keto and get yourself into starvation and really mess up your hormones and all kinds of stuff. Or you could eat way in abundance and too much and gain weight. Like that can happen too. And so it's like, it's keto. It's kind of like it's keto plus. And I've said this before, like keto is just one part of your diet. Like, because people ask me what my diet is, and if I just say keto, that really doesn't communicate what all my diet entails, because I do try to focus on whole foods, and there different times I've not had dairy and, different things. And it's like, I have to say I'm keto and this and this and this and this. And this. That gives you a better picture of what my diet is.
Yeah. When I first tried keto, what I knew about keto was, well, that's just the diet where you can eat like bacon and avocados and stuff. Like, that's pretty much all I knew. So I think there are people out there probably now who were like me, 9 months ago, and they don't really, they haven't looked into it. They haven't watched all the videos and the influencers and the doctors, to get all of that information. So, and then to your point too, everybody's macros, it's kind of individualized. So like what works for me isn't going to work for my friend Ellie over there or whatever. We might need to approach it differently. Like when I first started, it's not that nuts, because you mentioned nuts, Nili. It's not that nuts give me digestion issues, but if I eat nuts, I will tend to want to binge those. So, I had to kind of learn that about myself. So I don't have them on a regular basis anymore at all. It's, if I have them, it's at a, some kind of gathering, or it's a treat or something like that. It's super rare. I don't even remember the last time, but I don't miss them anymore. But if I consume them on a regular basis, it's like, ooh, those pecans are over there, and they start calling to me, and I want to go, munch on them. So I think you're right as far as just being so many different, ways to do this, and people that are new, they don't necessarily know that. So
it was kind of interesting when I finished my gut healing protocols, and I realized that my digestion was so much better. I felt like I had to kind of rebuild my diet from scratch, because my diet had been dictated so much about just from what I could tolerate and what I couldn't. And so I had to like really think through, like, why am I not eating nuts? Why am I, not eating these vegetables? And even why am I not eating healthy carbs? Like, if I can, I was like, my digestion is so different now. I need to experiment and have a different reason for choosing what I do and don't eat than it makes me sick, So I did a lot of experimentation. So like right now I don't eat nuts very often, but it's not because I can't tolerate them. It's because, like you said, they don't do a lot for me as far as satiation.
Right.
And they're just so easy to overeat. And then so it's easier just to not have them, and then just have them for a treat every once in a while. If, like you said, we're at an event or something. And so it gives me that freedom to have them. But then I have other criteria by which I make the decisions of why, which I think is very freeing, because I'm not a slave to my digestion. I get to choose for my own, whether I want to eat it or not. It's not dictated to me, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot in your videos about this beautiful property that you live on. And if you don't know, you guys, go watch some of her homesteading stuff that she has going on her property. And I asked you before the show how long you've lived there, and you said about 3 years, I think is what you said.
Yep,
so my question is, and you went from like the city out into this country. Was that like part of your health journey too? Like, in order to have your own, animals and things like that? Or is that like, would you consider that a separate life decision?
I mean, they definitely are related. I feel like it's for my family's health, like it not just like, oh, I have these health issues, and so we're going to make this decision for those. It's more like, we just want to be in touch with nature, and we want our kids to know where food comes from, and just kind of get back to the basics. And I do see, like, in the wellness community, the very natural switch to thinking more about where food comes from and getting into it, whether it be gardening or raising animals, even having, backyard chickens if you're in the city. And it's like, that's just the natural tendency when you start thinking about health. And so it definitely was a very natural thing for us, I think. we had a really small house in the city, and we moved into this little 2-bedroom house when we had 1 kid, and we moved out when we had 5 kids. And so we had outgrown that place, and we didn't have our heart set on country living at that point. It was just kind of like we had other options, you know, and the housing market was so crazy. It was like we just took what was in front of us, you know. And so I'm just super thankful that it worked out this way. Like we're still pinching ourselves that we got this place and that this is where we live. It's pretty magical. But yeah, it has been like a journey along with like my health journey for sure. And like I said, for the whole family, like I just feel like when I'm leading my family, I want to lead more towards knowing where our food comes from and doing the work to raise it. And I've had to reconcile with the fact that it's not cheaper. It's not cheaper to have your own chickens and to raise your own meat. A lot of times it's a lot more expensive, but the experience and the quality and, you know, just what we get out of it is valuable also. So I have to take that into consideration because I've always been such a bargain shopper. And so like thinking about like doing the math and figuring out how much these eggs are actually costing us, it's like, oh my goodness. but then embracing like that it is super valuable what we're getting alongside of that and the experience and stuff. So
Well, and can you touch on, since you brought up the chickens, which I love
the chickens.
We're dying to go. We're in the process of trying to find that little piece of land so we can do that too.
Nice.
But I just wanted to ask you about the free range chickens versus the chickens, you know, the chicken in the grocery store or the eggs in the grocery store. Have you noticed a huge difference in the nutrition of them or the way that they look, anything like that?
Yeah, as far as the eggs, what I noticed with our eggs is, first of all, the yolks are a richer color. Although a lot of egg producers will feed their chickens things that are like yellow colored, like marigold and different things to get the yolks to be darker because so they're trying to like.
Of course they do.
But ours really are. So
Yeah.
I noticed that. And then like the thickness of the yolk it's more like when instead of popping the yolk, it's like you slice it almost.
Whoa.
It's really interesting. So that's something that I definitely noticed. And now as far as the meat, we haven't done a lot of raising our own meat yet. We slaughtered 1 goat, which was an experience. And then we raised 3 meat chickens. When we first got chickens, we're like, we don't know what we're doing. And we got a bunch of chicks and we decided to try 3 meat chickens just to see what it was like. And these poor chickens, and these are like, you know, the ones that farmers, like homesteaders raise that are for meat, they grow so fast that they, like their legs break and they can hardly walk. And they grow so fast that they don't grow feathers everywhere because their feathers can't keep up with their growing bodies. It was really heartbreaking. And these are the ones that, you know, you get from the store, like from Wilco, and that homesteaders are raising. And like, if that's how they are, imagine how they are in the, you know, chicken processing plants. Like it's so unnatural. Like watching the whole process of these poor little chickens' lives, I was like, this is so unnatural. They've been bred for all of, you know, for the big breasts and I don't know. And it was heartbreaking. And so I still have not gotten to the point of buying pastured chickens and trying to find healthier chickens because they're so expensive. Like, I mean, we have a budget. We have to stick to it somehow. And when it's like $5 a pound versus $1 a pound, and you're like, can't do it. But it definitely got us. It was really eye-opening because I mean, I knew that the chickens from the grocery store probably were not the healthiest choice. Like I knew that, but then to watch these poor little chickens live their little lives, I was like, this is terrible. So we still haven't worked through that, like trying to figure out, because I would love to be able to raise meat chickens if we found, a different breed that tasted good and that had a little bit happier of lives. But yeah, it's just been really eye-opening to experience that. Also, I will say, when we did harvest the goat that we had, the meat was incredible. Like it was so
I've never had goat.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, goat's good.
It's good.
I
And
had like a stew once. It was good.
Can I pay you, Nili, and you can send me some in like a freezer box?
one day I hope that we'll like be producing goats. And then we'll actually, I was trying to think of some good products that would be easy to sell, and I was thinking goat jerky. We did that.
Okay, I would buy some goat jerky
I'm
from
on.
you.
Yeah,
so
me too.
if you sell goat jerky, I'll be first in line. How's that?
I feel like there would be a big market for it in the carnivore community. But like the flavor of the meat is so incredible. And then also we started getting like half a cow from a local rancher, and like the meat just tastes better. Like it's just so good. And so experiencing that, because like as a bargain shopper, I'm like, $5 a pound versus $1 a pound. It's like, oh, but then when you taste it, you're like, this is a different product. Like it's just a different food. And so not that there's anything wrong with getting the cheaper one, but just recognizing that there is that difference. It's been, like I said, really eye-opening.
Yeah.
I have an idea. If you sell your goat jerky, you should call it "You Gotta Be Kidding Me." Seriously, because that's not common. Like, usually you hear like beef jerky or pork jerky, but like, I don't know. I'll give that one
Kidney
too.
jerky.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me. It's goat. Oh man, it's so good.
Okay, so this question is timely for our conversation, so I'm popping it up. So Eric wants to know, is goat lean or fat meat?
I would say I think it's pretty close to beef. I don't think it's as fatty as lamb. Lamb is usually pretty fatty, but I think goat is closer to beef, but not quite as lean as like venison, deer.
Okay.
I mean, I'm no expert. We've only harvested one.
Just the one. So
that's more than I have.
Yeah,
I think it's so cool. I'm so interested in like self-sufficiency and stuff. And like we all, we're watching your video. We've been watching your videos. Just seeing your land and how connected your children are. It seems like they have just like they weren't born into this way of living, but they are just living it now. They're taking care of animals. Yeah, it's just like you're just flowing into it. And I think that's how people should be. People should be growing up with animals. And you have a respect for animals that you haven't had before. And so I think that's incredible. And congratulations. It's just so exciting. There was something you said, come along for the journey. And, we're all content creators. And I know that you've been doing this for like well over like 13 years now, like a long time, that's amazing. And so I was really curious, like, have you always wanted, like, did the want to share your journey, did that come from you had experimented so much trying to find your own answer for your own health problems, and then you wanted to share with others, or was it simply like a creativity thing? Or I'm just curious about, because you have such a big channel and it's amazing. Like we have so many viewers tonight. It's so exciting. I'd love to know how you started your channel.
Yeah. Okay. So I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that I would be an influencer or a YouTuber. Like that was never something that I even thought was in the realm of reality for me.
Those are the best ones. Take note, people.
Yeah. So the only reason I started my channel was because it was way back when there wasn't as many options for social media. And there was a diet group that I knew of. And the way that we communicated was making videos to share updates on. So it was just, and so when I started, I didn't tag my videos. I never put anything in the title that would be searchable. Like I went out of my way to make it not searchable, because I wanted it just for this specific group. And then as I started doing it, I realized that I enjoyed it. And like I started to share recipes and people enjoyed it. And then, YouTube does its thing and, something takes off and you're like, oh, wow. And there's really interest in this. And like, so it totally took me by surprise. And really the biggest thing that got my channel going was I got an Instant Pot right when they first came out. And I started just sharing cooking in my Instant Pot. And those videos just went nuts. And that's where I started really getting the viewers. And then from there, it's been, changing from one thing to another, because my channel is not just one thing. I've done everything wrong as far as, what they say for YouTube, like just stick to one thing. And no, that's not what I've done. And I've always said is like, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit, because like, I don't have time to have this be a job where I create separate stuff. I have to share whatever it is that I'm currently doing. Mm-hmm. Otherwise I can't do it. And so it's always been like whatever diet I'm on, or, whatever I'm playing with in the kitchen. That's always been what I'm able to share. And so I could have grown so much more if I had just, focused in on that one thing, but I'm like, I just can't do that.
I think that's what a lot of people love about it. I mean, it's just like whatever you're doing and you're just like this homeschooling mom, and we all want to be like you. Yes! So it's like so easy.
I be you when I grow up, even though
yes.
I be you.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So Nili, on a personal note, I got an air fryer yesterday, my very first one. So I'm gonna be like stocking all of your air fryer things so I can see how to do it, because I have no clue.
It will change your life.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after I did the Instant Pot stuff, air fryers became popular. So I started doing, unboxings and stuff of that. And those videos did really well too. But yeah, air fryers are great. And one thing I love about air fryers is that they're really easy for kids to use, especially like the drawer style ones. It's almost like an easy bake oven. I think that's why they're so popular. It's because everyone wanted an easy bake oven when they were little.
Yes.
An air fryer now. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's so true.
So see, Ellie, you can get an air fryer, and then your little ones will be able to make food for themselves.
Well, they still try to do it regardless. My 1-year-old, he's constantly pulling chairs out of the dining table and going all across the kitchen to the stove. And I'm like, it's hot. And he's like, I want to cook. So
that's great.
Maybe I will have to invest in one.
Well, Hayley mentioned homeschooling. So can you tell us a little bit more? Have your kids always been homeschooled? Is that something you've done from the beginning? And how does that look in your life? I mean, because you're not busy or anything.
No, I say I have 5 full-time jobs outside of YouTube, and that's my 5 kids. Yeah.
I'm stealing that. I'm stealing. That's good.
So, I was homeschooled growing up, and my husband was also homeschooled growing up. So it's kind of all we knew. And when I didn't think I wanted to be a homeschool mom before I had kids. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Well, I didn't think I really wanted to have very many kids at all, because I come from a family of 6 kids, and I'm like, I'm not going to homeschool. I'm not going to have a bunch of kids. And then here I am homeschooling my 5 kids.
You spoke too soon.
So when we had our first, I was like, well, like the idea of trying to like put her into, especially a public school, like that was just such a different world for us. It would have been bizarre. And so we were just like, well, I guess we'll just homeschool. And I kind of had in my mind, like, well, eventually we'll find something else. And then I kind of fell in love with homeschooling and like the idea of being with my children all day long. When you realize how fast they grow, it's like, wow, I need to really capitalize on these moments that they just go so fast. My oldest is 18 and she is getting married next month. So like,
oh, okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
My
Yes.
oldest is 18 too, but he is not getting married anytime soon.
I got married at 19. It's fine. It's all going to be good. You were 20,
Yes,
right?
I got married right after I turned 20. And I mean, it worked out great for us. We have, there's a lot of people that'll say like, oh, that's too soon. That's too early. And I'm like, I don't know, worked out fine for me. So, so anyways, I feel like I have like a foot in two worlds where I have my daughter that I'm helping get ready to get married. And then I also have a 5-year-old, so it's like, it's everything going on at the same time. But anyway, so we've homeschooled all the way through, and I've successfully finished with one of them. And then the others are, at their various levels. And it is a struggle to balance everything. Like some people will ask me, how do you get it all done? I don't know how you do it all. And I'm like, I don't. I can't do it all. And so there are definitely things with homeschooling and with how I take care of my house and how I take care of my animals that I wish I could do better. I wish I had time. Like, I feel like I could spend all of my time on homeschooling, or I could spend all of my time on the farm. I could spend all of my time on YouTube and, do a good job at one of them. Yes. But then I just can't, I don't have that much time. So I have to be really choosy about how I spend my time with each of those things. And so it's like with the kids, with their homeschooling, it's like we get the basics done. And sometimes we don't get the extras in there that, all the good homeschool moms do. But it's like, I have to just be like, well, it's good enough. It's good enough.
Well, as a public school teacher, I can vouch for the fact that, I've got 30 in my classroom. I mean, and I would love to give them as much individualized attention as I can, but that's just not happening. So even with what you are doing, because it's going to be very personalized, to each child. And I know for sure that's something that I can't do. It's just impossible when you got 30 of them. Absolutely. So, I mean, it's going to take you, less time to get through, more subjects, and you can focus on their interests and stuff. So I applaud you. With me working outside the home, I didn't do that for my kids. I mean, they're fine, but I can totally see the benefits of really being able to tackle something or go deeper into something, that they really enjoy, that I just wouldn't be able to accomplish that. In a public school setting, as good of a job as I'm, trying to do, it's just, not possible to do it. So,
I wanted to say that I saw something. I homeschool my kids. They're 8 and 6, and then I have a little 2-year-old. And I didn't want to at first either. I was public school, and my husband was homeschooled up until high school. And so things started happening right after the vid asterisks. I don't know. Are they still doing that? Is YouTube still doing that? Anyway, the COVID. And he was feeling like we should maybe do this. And so we did. But I heard something one time, because I feel that guilt sometimes where it's like, oh my gosh, why am I focusing on YouTube when I should be focusing on my kids? Or why am I focusing on this when I should be homeschooling or whatever? And the lady in the reel had said something like, just remember that homeschooling is not public school at home. Yes. It's completely different. And especially in your situation, Nili, I have a little bit of a jealous bug, because your kind of life is what I'm hoping to provide my kids before they get, any older. I feel like I'm on this timeline, like, oh my gosh, I want to get them that. And so, but they're learning where their animals come from. Some kids never ever learn that, and they see the process, and they learn the respect of the animals and all kinds of other things that they're learning. And so I get that. I feel you with the trying to juggle it all, but you probably have a little bit more on your plate than I do, because I don't have as many animals. But
yeah, it's definitely it's a juggle. That's a good word for it. It's like, I don't know, because I do a coffee chat with Lindsay Murphy every Wednesday, so tomorrow, and she's a homeschool mom too, same, and we are constantly talking about that. Like, it's just an eternal motherhood struggle. You just don't have time for everything. Like, that's just the reality of motherhood. It's like, sometimes I think it would just be so nice to just have a job where I could just focus on just the job, you know, and it's just, that's not my life. So embracing that, I feel like embracing that is very helpful, because a lot of us, we can be in a season, because motherhood is a season, like, not that you're ever not a mother, but the season of littles and them needing you every second, it's a season and it does go by really fast. And so I remind myself that there will be time for me to sit down and focus on a project and get it done, you know, without being interrupted. Like, that will happen somewhere in the future.
Yeah.
There will be a season for traveling more. There will be a season for all these things. But if we're constantly like looking and trying to either longing for a different season, or trying to shove a season into the season we're in that's not the right season, like, that's where discontent comes in, and it really can kill our joy. So, like, focusing on the season that we're in and embracing it for whatever it is, might just be dirty diapers, but embracing it for whatever it is, like, that's where you can really find joy. So even like with my YouTube channels, there's so many things that I would love to do with it, and, you know, like series and different things. And I have to put that out of my brain, kind of put it aside and be like, I need to really soak in the season that I'm in. And if I try to shove the season of a really organized YouTube channel in right now, it'll kill the joy in the season I'm in. So, but there will be
I love that.
There will be a day when I will have everything perfectly organized.
I love that you said
that I want to do.
I love how you said that. Don't try to shove a different season into your current season. I needed to hear that today.
Yeah. And not that it's easy. I have to remind myself of it all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there's hope for me. I'll figure it out. Okay, balance. I'll
we'll
find
get there,
it.
Allie.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get there. Oh man.
Balance.
Yeah. Whew, I feel so good talking to you, and I know we all do.
Sorry, that's me. I'm gonna do. I'm very
Hello?
sure it's a solicitor. It's a solicitor. I don't even think about my home phone, because the only people who call it are solicitors. It's hilarious. We only keep it because it's cheaper to keep it than get rid of it. Talking about saving money, Nili.
I was gonna say, are those Are those our viewers? They're calling in.
Ooh,
How many chickens
that
do
would
you
be interesting.
That would be funny.
I'm just putting up a couple of the highs that we got here.
Oh, thanks, Hayley.
Hopping in.
Oh,
All right.
Larry.
Yes, we've got a lot of fun friends hopping on here from Less Junk, More Health. Ooh, that's a good name. I like that. Hello, Poe.
Hello.
And Renee, of course. Hi, Renee. Bold Carnivore. Hello. Hi, bold friends.
So many new friends watching. This is so exciting.
What's this one? Hello.
Oh, it's Jennifer.
The
She put like an emoji, but sometimes the picture doesn't translate. So she put the pink hand waving. So she's
Hello.
hello.
I like that. Oh, hi, Dawn. This one's so sweet. Aww.
Aww. Thanks, lady, for
Invider. So
nice.
Thank you so much.
That's Jason, keto.
Hi, Jason.
Former fat girl. Love her picture. Always do.
That's me being Nicole. It's awesome.
Hi,
Awesome.
Karen. And then we've got Sonia. Hi, how are you?
Sonia.
So this one's an interesting comment here from Bruce. My wife had a gastric bypass in 96. She has to have iron infusions on a regular basis because she just doesn't absorb the iron.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I did my share of iron infusions. And what I found was I'd get an infusion and then it would drop so fast. And dropping, my ferritin dropping was like the worst thing ever. And so I was like, I can't keep doing this, because it messes with my brain, like my emotions. It's like, it was bad. So like, I got to figure out a different way to like stay steady.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So hard.
Here's another question for you, actually. Let's see. 2 biggest hurdles you faced on carnivore, or
Okay.
a keto, we should say keto.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I did do a carnivore diet for 3 months, full carnivore, no sweeteners, like I did all the right things. It was kind of interesting how the timing worked out because I had heard Kelly Hogan talk about carnivore, and I was still nursing at the time, and so I was like, I'm gonna wait until that's all finished. And then I started carnivore. I did it for 3 months. I actually started January, and so I did January, February, March. And it was right in that time that I got an offer to write a cookbook from a big publisher. And it was not a carnivore cookbook. It was, they had like their ideas. It was an Instant Pot cookbook, and they wanted it to be healthy, but healthy included like whole grains and lots of vegetables and stuff. And I was like, I got to take this opportunity. So I went from carnivore to, writing this cookbook where you have to taste everything. So I was off carnivore for like a year. And then I, got back to more ketovore after that. But anyways, as far as like on carnivore specifically, one big one was my electrolytes. Because that 3 months that I did carnivore was before I started taking any electrolytes. And I feel like if I had, things would have been a lot better. Like I had weird ear pressure things and throbbing in my ears from it, and a lot of different things. And I think that would probably be the biggest one. Like make sure you're just aware whether you want to start supplementing with electrolytes right at the beginning, or just be aware that supplements are available if you end up having issues. But that can be a big thing for people. And then I guess second would probably be just navigating social times, social eating, because I've been on diets before or I've had the mindset before where it's like, I just need to find the perfect diet and I just need to eat that. And if I do that, I'll be healthy. And I found that like my obsession with eating perfectly made me unhealthy in other ways. And one of those ways was like missing out on community and like always being the one that's like, no, I'm not going to eat, with everybody else, what everyone else is eating. And I was like, I'm sacrificing one aspect of health for a different aspect of health. And so kind of trying to navigate that and figure out how to eat socially, because it's very tricky in the age that we live with. I mean, normal food is junk food for the most part. And so trying to figure out how to enter in socially and then also stay healthy. And it's not easy. And I won't say that I have it figured out, but being okay with allowing myself to have something that is less healthy and doing that for the sake of having fellowship with people. I think just trying to figure that out has been a big hurdle. And like I said, I don't think I've figured it out completely yet, but I've made progress.
Yeah, definitely. I struggle with that too, especially the social and the electrolytes, honestly. But the social part is hard, especially when you're people constantly ask, why aren't you eating? Or, and I'm a kind of a recovering binge eater. I did that over Thanksgiving. That was the first time in my carnivore journey where I was like, I'm just going to let myself have the green bean casserole. And like, I ate that whole thing. It was like the 9x12 pan. And I didn't feel good after that, but it's that, yeah. And it's hard to be in those situations, but I'm starting to it's starting to get easier. I'm starting to create those boundaries that are comfortable and okay. And other boundaries where I'm like, okay, I can go a little further or have this specific thing. And it's been getting easier, but yes, that's a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had a couple more comments here really quick. I see this one is starred. Bruce, it's great to see traditional families and homeschool the kids. Are any of you ladies traditional Catholics? That's an interesting question.
Nope.
Me neither.
Yeah, no, I'm not either. And Bruce, we answered you a little bit more in the chat too, or I think a few of us did.
But, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Alaskan Sauce. Happy
New
Year.
That name.
I know. I was born on a farm. We raised pigs, had chickens. Excuse me. Living in Alaska, we fish and hunt so close to the animals we harvest.
Mm.
Where are you at in Alaska? Alaskan sauce. I was raised there as well my entire life, and then moved to Idaho as an adult. So let me know where you're at. It's a great place to live, that's for sure. And then last one here. I'm planning to start.
Jackie, I know in person.
Oh, you're kidding!
Hi,
She's
Jackie.
a homeschool mom too.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. Hoping for transformation and hormonal health. I've been having hot flashes for last year and am worried about going without my AG1. Ooh. So somebody inform me, what is AG1?
It's athletic greens. It's a
okay.
Multivitamin along with digestive enzymes and probiotics. It's like an all-in-one. My husband takes it and he swears by it. And we even have my son, 5-year-old son, taking like a small serving of it because he has some various digestive issues and skin issues. And it really helped his digestive issues. Like I was able to see it, you know. Give kids supplements, you're like, I don't really know if it did anything, but I was personally able to see the difference. So
wow.
yeah, it's good. I took it for a little while. I don't take it anymore, but it is a good like overall supplement to cover your bases if you need that, if you're deficient in things.
Right. Oh, interesting. I learned something.
But then
Yeah,
if
me
you
too.
Carnivore, you got to cut it out. So that's an interesting predicament.
Right. Well, if Jackie, if you feel like you feel good taking that and doing carnivore, then, you know, it like Nili was saying earlier, there's no one way to do it. So,
Mhm.
And I think it's worth trying, you know, just carnivore and just getting a baseline and see how you feel, and then try carnivore with the athletic greens and see how you feel there. And it's always an experiment.
That's what I was going to suggest too. So we did it.
Well, ladies, I think it's about time for that meaty wheel.
Woo.
Do it. Spin that wheel.
Right. Yes. All right. I've been given permission
Spin that wheel
to bring up our meaty wheel. So here it is, Nili. I hope you're ready for the question our meaty wheel is going to hunt for you. Here we go. Oh, okay. You touched on this a little bit, but what has been your experience with weight loss or weight management?
All right. Well, like I said, I lost like 40 pounds on the Atkins diet when I was 19. And that was amazing. And then from then on, it's been like up and down with, you know, baby weight. Mm-hmm. And I have always thought that I should be a lower weight than I am. And it's been more of a journey of like accepting, like, if this is where my body is happy, then I need to be okay with it. And recognizing that if I push too hard to lose weight, you know, through calorie restriction and stuff like that, that I actually am making myself less healthy, which is hard to reconcile. But yeah, it's been, I don't have like this massive weight loss journey. It's been more acceptance and learning how to be happy at a healthy weight, and being healthy rather than pushing for a low weight and because I've done that before, making myself less healthy by losing weight the wrong way. So
yeah, I'm right there with you on that. Focusing a lot more now on my overall health than what the scale has to say. So I really appreciate your answer. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, Ellie, are you going to take us on a journey?
I want to. So I was typing a comment and I was like,
go to her.
It's okay. It's okay. So I would love to invite everybody on a magical journey to Nili's channel. Share screen. So Nili's been making YouTube videos, and when I clicked her about section, I was like, oh my gosh, 13 years, and you've had over 25 million views on your channel. Like, that just blows my mind.
It blows my mind too.
It's like, And you're a mother of 5. You share videos with your mouth-watering recipes, ranging from like low carb to carnivore, and you also share your vlogs on your beautiful property. So I think all of you guys should go subscribe to Nili. I mean, what are you doing? Let's all. And she, especially since she's on this journey with her iron deficiency anemia, like that is going to help so many people if they're also struggling with that. And so I know we're all so thankful that you've been on the show with us tonight, and it's been amazing chatting with you today. So everyone, please go support Nili.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bruce already subscribed, so
Yay! Thanks for yeah, I know I was jumping up and down because I've been following you for a while, Nili. I came to your channel for the recipes, and then I was like, oh my gosh, she has all this other cool, and then I heard about, I watched you make that like yogurt. I forget what it's called. I watched you mispronounce the name too, so I'm not going to mispronounce it.
I still don't really know exactly how you're supposed to pronounce it.
Yeah.
All the commenters are telling me something different.
Yeah, right? So I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to stay out of that conversation.
Tomato,
But I watched you do all that for your SIBO, and then your recent vlogs with your little one, your little boy, and the working with the, I mean, just adorable. And so thank you so much for everything that you do, and thank you for agreeing to come on and chat with us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It was super fun.
So are we ready for the countdown?
We're ready.
Okay. Guys, in the comments, get your roars ready. Okay. We need the roars. We don't do barking or anything like that. just
roars only.
Meow, right? We allow meows.
Mews, roars, purrs.
Yeah. Okay, are we ready? 3, 2, 1.
Love it, Nili. The one-handed. I like the one-handed.
I do too. I was like, awesome. I'm going to start doing that now. Okay. Anyway. Oh, we've got some here. Meow. Thank you.
Acceptable.
Thanks, Sean. That's Sean.
Just kidding. Evelyn. We love it. Thanks, Sean.
And we've got Renee. I'm going to pop these up quick. And Susan.
I love it.
Eric, roar picanha, roar for Cristie.
I almost forgot. That would have been 2 weeks in a row. I did not say picanha.
I noticed last week.
I know. So I have to say it now. So thank you, Eric. Picanha.
Picanha.
My favorite.
Let's see. We've got a couple more. Susan.
Ooh,
Jackie.
Nice spelling. I love it.
Eric, long, nice roar. Okay. Awesome. Yay. Thanks, you guys.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And we will see you next week with another awesome guest. Bye, everybody.
Love you. I love you.